Hello everyone, I'm going to go ahead and make another game of Chess Ultra. I'm going to play a single game. Find a new game. So I'm playing where the Grim Reaper usually is, and I have the Stoughton pieces, and I like the metal look, so I'm going to keep the metal look. Let's see, my side random, so I never know which side I'm going to get. The question will be is, I did beat it in Scholar, but I had to use 2 takebacks. Part of it is because it's kind of hard to see that pseudo 3D, which you could, obviously when you're playing on a real board, you have an easier time. But I like challenges, so I'm going to play Scholar. Hopefully he doesn't mess me up too much. So I'm going to take my sweet time, so I may not have enough time to play the whole game out in 15 minutes or so, but let's see. Oh, wait, I got to go down, I guess, to start game. And now let's see what happens. Which area he starts me off at. So you see again, it's got that pseudo look. If you were playing in VR mode, you would see the Grim Reaper facing you, because it's a fight for your life. But then again, we know how bad he is. Since Bill and Ted owned his butt, so he can't be that good, right? So they gave me white. So, since I mentioned I like the English opening from a book that I read, let me see if I have the book here. Darn it. I know it's that Dynamic English, darn it, where's my book? I think the gentleman's name is Tony Colston. I believe it's the name. So apologies to him if I'm mispronouncing his name. Okay, but basically, I'm not sure where that book is right now, but I think it was Tony Colston, so I'm going to start ahead with the English opening, which is C4. And in order to help me with the 3D part of it, I'm actually have a separate board that I'm playing my moves on the opposite board. So I'll be moving around a little bit. Okay, see, now he's copying me. So he's trying to create what's called a symmetric English, which is where essentially he's cloning my moves. But there's a point where you just can't do that anymore. So I'm going to go with the dynamic English, which means I'm just going to go ahead and move this pawn slightly. See what he's doing? He's being a copycat. It's like, anything I can do, you can do better kind of thing. And that's really annoying. It's like he doesn't want to invent the wheel. He wants to cheat off of my knowledge. Alright, so. And now what happened if you take a look at D5. I'm controlling both the pawn and the bishop on long range. I'm controlling D5 and taking it away from him. Now what he wants to do though, he's obviously doing the exact opposite now. He's fighting for D4. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is going to continue with the system and play E4. So that, again, as you see, if I play E4, I'm putting even more of a clamp on D5. Now he's bringing his queen out, which is stupid. That's not a developing move. What he wants to do is he's trying to put pressure here on B2, but B2 right now is covered. It's covered by the bishop, and if he's thinking of moving the pawn to get some kind of discovered check, that pawn isn't going anywhere. So now again, I'm trying to control D5. Oh, actually, wait, I take it back. I see what he's doing now. I didn't see it until I just looked at my physical board. The queen is attacking B2, right? But so is that long-range bishop over there. It's actually, so you got 2 attackers against that 1 square. So I want to kind of eliminate that. So what I want to do is, if he wants to trade, that's fine, but he's not going to get what he wants. So what I'm doing is I'm going to move my knight to C3, because now he's only really attacking one-on-one, and that's a good long-range bishop. You do not want to waste it for a knight like that. So I'm essentially saying, no, you're not going to get that long range on me. Sorry. You want it? You're going to have to fight for it. So now he's kind of, again, being the copycat that he is, because he can't come up with his own ideas. So now what he wants to do is, I have to be careful now, because what he could do is he could jump into b4 and then jump into d3, and then what happens is it creates a fork on both you know, the king and the bishop. So I can see that because it's coming. So if he tries to jump in right now, I'm going to immediately play d3, because now he can't take on c3 because my queen will cover it. So I know I have a little bit of time, so I'm going to make another developing move. So I'm going to move my knight, which is at E, F, G to E2. Essentially, if his bishop decides, okay, what the hell, I'm just going to trade off my other knight will recapture. Essentially, they will be guarding each other. And now I'm getting almost ready to castle. So now that bishop move, I don't understand. What is the purpose of this move? He's attacking what? My pawns? Pawns aren't doing anything. Like, I could push that pawn up, you know, to f4, but that would be kind of stupid. That's like, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and play 3-3, completely eliminated that sneaky knight move. Plus, I create room for my bishop, and I'm starting to get ready to castle. So now my bishop, after I play d3, like, pawns are nice and covered. The bishop has a nice range, and I'm getting ready to castle. See, now so is he. That's why he played that knight move. So we're almost completely developed. We both have to develop. He has to develop his light square bishop, because right now that's kind of stuck where it is. While mine, the black square, if you notice, I got lots of space. Lots of space, because I have a nice diagonal that I could use. Like, my white square, not so much, but it's playing a defensive role right now. And actually, I'm almost tempted to play f4 and say, go away, Mr. Bishop. You know, but I've always heard of the f pawn is the forget about it pawn. So, not yet. King safety first. And then he did the same thing, king safety first. Now again, that knight is really messing up that bishop. I'm tempted to play f4 right now, because that bishop is really going to get into trouble, having to go all the way back. Because if he moves to d6, that's a fork. That's a fork with support. If I get another piece of support, that's a fork. But the question is, well, the problem with playing playing f4 and then maybe developing the knight there if he takes or something, is that right now b2 is a target. So I do gotta watch for b2. So what I may have to do is I may have to move my queen in there to guard b2, like move my queen to c2, so that it could guard that square, and that frees up the bishop to go somewhere else. I just gotta watch him see this knight over here that he has. Let's see, where's it going? It's going over here, then he goes here, and then he's not going anywhere. Okay, I think I need to move my queen to c2, just so that it frees up the bishop, because right now the bishop is the one piece I haven't developed, and I can't develop it because he has to guard b2, you know. So major pieces guarding pawns, not always such a good idea. You want them to be offensive. Right now he can't. He's kind of like in guard row, and since he's the last piece that I don't have, now let me see. The only thing is, wait, I gotta see something now. I forgot. If I move the queen to c2, he could. I just realized if I move the queen to c2, he could harass the queen by going from knight to what is this, b4. So maybe what I need to do is, before I move the queen to c2, I need to play, you know, a3 to say, hey, you're not getting in there. See, now that kind of limits that knight. That knight can't go in there because if it goes in there, it's subject to immediate capture. Now the queen is coming over here. What is it doing? See, now the pressure on b2 is no longer there, except for the bishop, of course. And the whole point of this is I want to jump that knight in there. I want to jump the knight into d5. Yeah, so you could see already this is a very long and complicated game. A lot of maneuvering going right now. I have to think about this one. I think this game is going to take more than 15 minutes, obviously, because he's obviously a very tough opponent, and I have to be very careful about rushing into things. This is why, like I said, I decided to have a physical board for me to analyze the game instead of trying to look at this CD screen, pseudo CD screen, because it creates problems. It creates problems because I can't get that field of depth that I get on a real physical board. And since this isn't a time game, I have no time limit. I could take my sweet time and really think things clearly. Play with a purpose. So I'm thinking of jumping the knight into d5. I just don't know if I should do that or wait or play queen to c2, since now the knight can't come in and harass me. Although, well, he could jump his knight in there. Could jump his knight, harass my queen, and have to trade off the knight, then he trades off to the bishop. So choices. So I have to think about this one. And again, I could still play kind of f4 and say go away. So yeah, this game is definitely going to take a lot more than the original 15 minutes. So I got a feeling there's going to be a part 2 to this. Because I'm going to have my nice English setup. All my pieces, except, like I said, is the one that's kind of the laggard, the one that's kind of like not doing much of anything, is the bishop, because he's having to play a defensive role. Now, of course, I could do another. I could try to gain space on the queen side by playing rook to b1 and then pushing the pawn up. But that's an option. That's also an option I could consider. So as you can see, I got a lot of different options I could choose here. So because I could, like I said, I could move the rook over to b1 and then play b4, and then gain some space on the queen side. Let's see. So many options. Let me see. Hey, what about a pawn push? Well, I did say I did want to activate my bishop, so I think I'm just going to go on a long diagonal and put it, bishop to h6. So this way I'm harassing that rook, and that means that my last piece, my last remaining undeveloped piece, is developed. So now he's got to move that rook away. And now that we have him on the run, I'm gonna take advantage of that fact that that bishop is badly placed